they're going to need their offensive line to stay intact and stay healthy. And that's a big ask because Tyron Smith, as great as he is, and it seems like he's been around forever. He's only 30 years old. You would think that he has a lot more left in him, but the injuries are starting to add up. And if you can't protect the blind side of Dak, then I think your chances of winning and being successful consistently is going to start to dwindle away.
I feel like a lot of teams in the NFL, when they don't have to pay their quarterbacks, they invest in positions like the offensive line or the defense or whatever it is, linebackers. I don't know. And so that was something the Cowboys did. They invested heavily in their offensive line. And so you had Dak, who unfortunately couldn't lead them to the promised land that they thought that he was going to early in his career. And then you paid your offensive line. You had this stout offensive line. Zeke was rolling. Everything was working in their favor. And now the offensive line had holes in it last year, had injuries, guys retire, whatever it may be. Now you've paid your quarterback. You can't go out and sign those big-time free agents at all the different positions. And so now you got to get a little bit more creative. Let's add this to it with the Cowboys, too. We talked about a little bit of the dysfunction that we saw in the locker room last year. Well, now you're going to throw Hard Knocks in, too. Like, everyone's going to get to know this team on a kind of different level. Right. And that, I think that could be good for the Cowboys. There's no secrets. There's no stone unturned.
Well, Hard Knocks, I've been on Hard Knocks, right? Hard Knocks is a story that's probably going to feature Jerry Jones a lot. It's going to be the Jerry Jones show and all his little one-liners and all that stuff. And then they're going to pick maybe Dak, right? But then they're going to find somebody that's on this roster that's a young guy like Parsons. And eventually the cameras fade away unless guys are trying to play to the cameras and trying to be stars and watch themselves on the following Tuesday. But I think this is a great advertisement for the Dallas Cowboys because everybody has a perception of what they think it is. And sometimes I think, when we were on Hard Knocks, I think people saw how great Rex was, how personable he was, what the environment was. Hey, let's go get a damn snack. And it made free agents want to come play there because they knew that they would be a good time to be there, but yet we still got the work done. So I think this can be a great kind of infomercial for Dallas to signal to other free agents that it's okay to come.
Okay, so now transitioning from that, I have a question. Dak Prescott, prior to his injury, didn't always have the most positive narrative from at least Cowboys fans, is what I'd gathered, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they weren't sure if this was the guy. Then, unfortunately, he goes down with a gruesome injury, and I can still envision the tears, as he's getting carted off the field. And it's almost like everyone changed their mind. He obviously covered up a lot of problems. Yeah, thank you, Andy Dalton. There were a few other quarterbacks in the mix as well. And it's like everyone changed their mind because they realized how many holes that he covered up on the offensive line, scrambling to get plays. Zeke didn't perform as well then. He had so many receivers that clearly weren't being utilized in the same way they were when he was there. The list goes on. And so now I feel like Dak is entering a time as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback where he's coming off a gruesome injury, and the narrative surrounding him has changed, and we're no longer using this distraction of his contract. So this is a year where he can really come into his own, make a statement as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league. Can he do it quickly, though?
I don't know if he's a top 5 quarterback, if that's even his ceiling. I don't think his ceiling is Russell Wilson, right? I don't think he can ever get to the heights and be able to play football like Russell Wilson did. But the thing is, he's in a newlywed phase. Whenever you get a lot of money and you were the underdog, he was a 4th round or 3rd round draft pick, whatever it was, and he was underpaid. He was grossly underpaid to be the starting quarterback, especially for the Dallas Cowboys. But what happens is when you get paid about a year or two after, you have to start picking out the teammates which you don't want to play with, right? Because eventually the weight of this contract is going to start making him lose guys. He's got to prove that he can do more with less. Right now, he was doing less with more. Right now, he's going to have to do more with less because he's going to start losing guys that are up for free agency. They're not going to have the money to retain guys. Right? We saw this happen with Russell Wilson, right, in the Legion of Boom. Like every year was another guy that was going, Earl Thomas, Sherman, right? And that's what's going to have to happen. So, like, he needs to prepare to be able to not only play at the level in which he played at last year was a high level, he has to take it to an entirely higher level, and especially within this division because you got other guys in this division, that still has a window because they're yet to pay their quarterbacks big money, right? So they can go out and they can get a great team of proven commodities opposed to him who he's going to have to play with what he has so far.
Okay, well, let's look at the teams in the division, and that would be why, okay? Like, And I just read a note here that according to you, you think the NFC East is the most competitive division in the NFL?
Not the most. I think it's going to be highly competitive because we don't know which one of these three teams are going to come out. Like, I love the AFC North. I love what's going on
the
out
AFC
there.
South, the NFC West.
I mean, but you talk about these teams are all equally matched, right? I think people are slipping on what the Giants did, right? If they just could have won a couple more games early, and look at what Danny Dimes. I think Danny Dimes is a candidate for breakout player of the year.
Okay,
right? If he can make sure that he limits the turnovers, this is a guy that you can do everything that you can do with the modern quarterback. A lot of people look at him, look dorky. I remember meeting him in the media room when I worked at the Fan. He came in with his khakis when he was coming in on a field trip, from Tiki Barber to kind of visit the media world, right? But he's a guy that is more athletic than people give him credit for. He's able to do the RPOs. I mean, he hit 21 miles an hour so much that he couldn't stay upright to walk in for a touchdown. But he's a guy that if he can turn down some of the turnovers, I call him Junior Whopper because he's always dropping the ball with them little bitty hands. But if
driving the ball, he's scrambling, and then he goes to throw it out of bounds, and he throws it to the other team. I'm like, this seems like a simple, just throw it out of bounds.
But he's played well, and look, he's had good moments. We want to talk and gush about Amari Cooper, Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb, but I tell you what, Kenny Galladay, you think about Shepard, you think about Ingram, like they even Slayton, people are sleeping on. He has weapons, and Saquon Barkley is playing for his football career, right? Because he's either he's a guy that they picked when they had an opportunity to pick up Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen because Dave Gettleman said that he was a generational talent. And he hasn't been able to be healthy. He's going to have the productivity that he had his first year, which he had over like 700 yards receiving, and he had over 1,200 yards rushing. If he's able to be that team is going to be dangerous because I think they got the steal of the draft with Ozies coming off the edge. Leonard Williams signed up. That defense was strong. And we know what Washington's able to do. People are sleeping on Washington and their skill position players as well. Their defense is elite.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.